Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ian, and today we're going to be talking about something that I decided to do, and I gotta say I've had some pretty interesting results. So I decided to only use the original Apple Watch. So this is the first generation Apple Watch. This is the Series 0, as some people call it, the original one that was released back in 2015. Now, I've been wearing two Apple Watches. I'm not going to hide that fact, because anyone who is using a Series 0 in 2023, are you okay? Because, wow. So, this is paired currently to my iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it works. It gives me notifications. It tells me the battery status on my lock screen, my home screen, wherever in the battery widget. Pairs, but it no longer supports any apps or any of the newer watch faces that we got, as this does stop at WatchOS 4.3.2, which, going back from WatchOS 9 to WatchOS 4 has been such a huge change, because it made me realize the features that I've started to take for granted weren't always there. I've gotten so accustomed to using the features, like not having an action button like I've had on my Ultra, I absolutely love. And now, there are some situations where I really don't need the action button, but I like it. Also, this is a 38mm Apple Watch. This is small, as it has some pretty thick bezels, and the only viewable area is very small, as that's all we had. And now our Apple Watches are edge to edge, as my Apple Watch Ultra is 11mm bigger, which initially I didn't think would be that big of a change, but I gotta say I'm actually starting to like the smaller watch, because it kind of made me realize, do I need a big watch as much? Now, I'm keeping the Ultra. I love it. I'm not gonna stray away from that. But having the smaller watch was kind of a nice, for a little bit. Granted, I was wearing both of them. I had the regular Apple Watch on one hand, and I had my Ultra on my opposite wrist. That way I wasn't as tempted to look at my Ultra, because my Ultra was just there as a backup if the original Apple Watch died, because all of my notifications, activity tracking was all being done through the original Apple Watch. Now, with the workout tracking though, because it is running WatchOS 4.3.2, it actually didn't have all of the workout types that I was doing, so I did have to log them as other. But back in the day, you can log it as other and then name it as a different type of workout, where now, as if you log it as other, you can't do that. So it is pretty cool seeing how far Apple's come, as they've added basically, I feel, every workout type. You can find something, or you can find something very close to whatever it may be. Now, the old watch faces are something I kind of miss some of them. Some of them are still there with WatchOS 9, and they have been redesigned to support the rich complications that we added with the Series 4. So having the older watch faces and just kind of the simpler look, I really enjoyed, because it wasn't as in your face as I felt, because it basically said, here's the time, and that's it. Now, there was no Nike faces on this or anything like that, so it is the pure Apple Watch experience from 2015. It's the Apple Watch Sport, in particular, 38mm in space gray. And seeing how far Apple has come has really made me appreciate all the little things they add. And I know with WatchOS 10 coming up, it's supposed to be this revolutionary change, so that's really why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to see how far we've come. Now, I know it's only been about 5 years, which is still crazy to think, because it's been 5 years, and it does not feel like it's been 5 years. And now we're coming up on WatchOS 10, which is rumored to bring some heavy-hitting features, which I'm excited for. Now, would I continue using the Series 0? No, because of two reasons. I felt the screen was too small, because it is 38mm. Now, maybe if I had the 42mm version, this would be different, as I did have the 42mm Series 3 back in the day. I no longer have it, so I can't say what it looks like and how it would be if I used it today. But the battery life. Now, maybe it's because it's a device from 2015, so I'm not being extremely hard on it, because it's an older Apple Watch than my Apple Watch Ultra. Now, my Apple Watch Ultra does also have 36 hours of battery life, whereas this Apple Watch had 18, so it does have double the battery life. But with my Apple Watch Ultra, I feel like I was never charging it. Any Apple Watch I've had in the past few years, I feel like I rarely had a charge until I was going to bed. This Apple Watch barely was holding a charge. Now, I understand it's because it's an old watch, and I did use it back in 2015 and for part of 2016 for a while. I understand that. So that's why I'm not so hard on it. But I do also know there are people out there who have a Series 3 and it's on the newer end, and they tell me all the time the battery life sucks. Now, part of me thinks this happens as Apple kind of tries to age out older watches, because with the software tends to bog it down and slow it down. Like, the fact that the Series 3 got WatchOS 8, I think was one of the biggest mistakes Apple has made so far, because the Series 3 did not deserve WatchOS 8, because it was just so bad, the watch. In my opinion, it got to the point where the watch it was just being held on because that was a lot of their user base, and then a lot of their user base did upgrade when they got the new Series 2, Series 8, and Ultra. So I get why they did it. It's just a little annoying looking back and seeing how far we've come and how Apple kind of likes to just phase out the watches. But seeing how far we've come is insane, because I have absolutely no apps on this. Now, I understand that the apps probably aren't supported anymore, so that's totally understandable. But there are certain things that just this Apple Watch can't do that nowadays I feel like I can't live without. I use walkie-talkie on this Apple Watch, my Apple Watch SE, all the time, and I absolutely love it. This Apple Watch does not have walkie-talkies, so I may do without it. The speakers on this Apple Watch are so quiet that it's really hard to hear people at full volume. And seeing how this was on a lot of people's wrist back in 2015 and seeing how far we've come is absolutely crazy, because this could replace an iPod now. This, not so much. Now, while you could connect AirPods to it and all that, it did not have cellular connectivity. It did not have any of that. So this was running purely off of my iPhone and nothing else. And also the heart rate sensor. So it does have the first generation heart rate sensor because it is the first generation Apple Watch. But still, having the more accurate heart rate sensor when you're working out and the ability to put your finger on the digital crown if it's not properly reading to complete the circuit, as Apple says, and it will read your heart rate is pretty nice, because I've been able to just put my finger on the digital crown, have it read my heart rate, and then I know what my heart rate is when I'm working out. But kind of missing out on those features and having the heart rate be less accurate was a little annoying. Now, I was also comparing this to a Apple Watch Ultra, so that's why. But now, if I didn't have the Apple Watch Ultra, and I had an Apple Watch SE, it still is a pretty big jump. So, my Apple Watch SE has a S5 chip. The original Apple Watch has an S1 chip because it was the first Apple Watch. Now, the S5 chip is substantially faster. The Apple Watch Series 1 and 2 were both faster than this Apple Watch was. Apple released the Series 1 mainly just to kind of be like, everyone who's on a Series 0 but doesn't want all the new flashy features, here you go, it's now faster and it'll have better battery life. But overall, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with how far we've come, and I'm very excited for what we're gonna learn at WWDC about what's coming in September. And I got a question for you. Did you have a first generation Apple Watch? Do you remember having it? Do you still have it? I want to hear from you, so if you can leave a comment below, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe while you're down there, I'd really appreciate that as well, because that lets me know you're enjoying the content I'm producing. And I want you to remember, today's a good day to make a great day, and I will talk to you in the next one.